Get the Friendo Club set up today and get access to over 700 Going in Raw bonus episodes, our monthly Big Blue predictions challenges, and the ability to ask questions at Going in Raw. We also offer the Steven Larson comic book and exclusive Friendo Club t-shirt. Just hit join here at youtube.com/Steven Larson or go to patreon.com/Steven Larson to sign up. Hey, Friendo, Steve here.
Hey, Larson.
Welcome back to Going in Raw, the only pro wrestling podcast you need to be listening to on today's episode. Sorry, I didn't check your camera on this particular scene, so you're like huge again. Can we just do the Thursday episode like this, please?
Just a massive, huge head, Larson.
We'll bring you down here. Woo. Anyways, on today's episode, we got a lot to talk about. We're doing things like a little bit different. So usually, just a programming note here, on Thursdays, it's sort of the day that we have to figure out. Look, Raw sells itself, SmackDown sells itself.
Hot takes episode
hot
sells
takes.
itself.
I can manipulate the shit out of that. It's already at 10 G's.
Yeah, Count Out, depending on the topic, does pretty well.
Count Out always does well, yeah.
These Thursday episodes, listen.
Yeah.
NXT, AEW, they have their fans. Yeah. But that doesn't necessarily translate to numbers for us in terms of hitting, equivalent to what Raw, SmackDown, Hot Takes, so on and so forth does. So we kind of have to bolster these episodes with some other conversation fodder, some news pieces, if you will.
Look,
Hopefully
man,
get the views up a little bit. So today we're taking a little bit different approach to things.
Look, man, this is a business we're running here. All right, we ain't got some big corporation behind us, Larson. This is Steven. Bizarrely, we've been able to keep this shit together for as long as we have.
I'm largely inept in whatever I do.
Hey, you know what, man? Me and you off into the sunset, Larson. Not quite yet, perhaps, but. So yeah, today we're going to talk about a bunch of smaller, like sillier news items. And then it's funny because the Thursday episode is also bizarrely contentious. We'll start talking about AEW and then somebody will chime in the comments. I'm here for NXT. Somebody wake me when it's NXT. Or like, nobody ever really says that the other way around necessarily. But like, people are here to hear about AEW. I remember one time, like, I guarantee I'm going to get at least one comment on this episode. Why isn't AEW in the thumbnail? Like it's a matter of disrespect. Hey, guess what? They dropped a Fresno Dynamite last night where there was just a whole lot of talk and matches that really kind of didn't matter a damn. And that's kind of it. Kenny Omega came out. What?
You're telling me the Dynasty Eliminator Tournament is inconsequential, Steve?
Well, maybe not to some people, Larson. But the True World Order says AEW reviews have to be moved to a smaller podcast, like a Going in Raw developmental.
Wow.
Brian Luckman hit us up and was like, hey, I'm trying to get my resume in order. Let me do some work for you guys. Maybe we'll give AEW over to Brian Luckman.
All right. That's something to consider, I suppose.
Probably not. We'd get a lot of pushback on that one. Yeah, let's start reviewing Evolve, please.
There we go. Yeah. Anyways, where do you want to start today, Steve?
So, okay, just to preface, I know we've been prefacing this whole time, but got a couple of smaller, sillier news stories from the week, and I put up a thread here at Going in Raw, asking y'all to tell us some news stories that you saw that you want us to get, that you want our thoughts on. So we're going to do all that stuff, and then we're going to do some pretty brief AEW and NXT reviews as well. Just give you guys our thoughts on what happened there. But I told Larson before that we're not going to, all those fucking promos on AEW Dynamite this week. We're not going to run through that shit.
I think it was on Fightful said they had other plans, but so many people were banged up from Revolution that they couldn't have matches, so they had to talk.
Really? Oh, yeah. Wow. Okay. Well, yeah, man. You do those super duper wrestle shows.
I know, the super physical type matches.
CB85 has it right. Non-news is what we used to do back in the day. Non-news.
Yep. All right. Yeah. So where do you want to start?
Let's
start with Phil. Do you want to start with?
It's on the thumbnail. I'll start with Phil.
Let's start with Phil. So, Moose, current X Division champion in TNA, challenged Obafemi on Tuesday for the NXT title in a really fun match. Tweeted yesterday the following. So while I was world champion, there were plans of Punk coming to TNA and us feuding. Punk versus Lesnar from Survivor Series 2013 is one of my favorite matches ever. I was looking forward to recreating something just as awesome, but obviously it never happened, but who knows. Shout out to CM Punk. GOAT! So
We're
Steve,
going
let
to
me
talk
ask you
about
this.
CM Punk tonight. It's Punk Daily, man. It's back.
No. Punk Daily is when he's causing problems.
Yeah, Punk Daily was exclusively for CM Punk being dramatic.
Yes, causing problems
Diva
backstage.
Punk. Yeah.
So accompanying this tweet is a picture of Moose with CM Punk. At some point after he was fired from AEW and before he signed with WWE in November of 2023, he was backstage at an Impact show.
He was. He took a picture with Jordan Grace as well, if I
Moose.
remember correctly. And as you see in the thumbnail, this is not an AI generated image. This is an actual image of CM Punk. I did use AI to clean it up, though. Sorry, everybody. I know it's evil and everything, but
so Steve, let me ask you this.
Yeah.
A scale of 0 to 10. How firm are these plans for CM Punk to come to TNA and challenge Moose for the World Championship? You can give me two different scores. One from TNA's perspective and one from CM Punk's perspective.
Wow. Okay. All right. If WWE wanted nothing to do with him, Vince McMahon and Triple H, if they wanted nothing to do with him, clearly AEW, that bridge was as bad as burned as it can possibly be. If New Japan wanted nothing to do with him, maybe because of their relationship with AEW, I feel like there was, from CM Punk's perspective, it had to have at least been like a 50-50. If for no other reason, to use TNA to open some doors that might have been closed. The WWE door, basically the WWE door, if that was closed, I think it'd have been like, maybe.
You're giving me a lot of letters and words. I want numbers, Steve.
50-50 from his perspective.
No, I said a scale of 0 to 10. 10 being, like
then it's a
locked
5.
in.
It's a 5. It's a
All
5.
right, that's from Phil's perspective. What about from TNA's?
Oh, 11. Are you kidding me,
Yeah.
dude? Bring him in. Look, there have been far lesser names who have walked through the door and immediately won the world title there. Yes, 1,000%. 1,000%. Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. If Moose Moose versus Punk would have been more like Brock Lesnar coming in and fighting Moose. They would. They'd job Moose out. I love Moose, by the way. Moose is great, but let's not get it twisted. CM Punk coming in, go to sleep. Go to sleep. Go to sleep. Oh, yeah, 1,000%. Been a good match, too. It would have been a really good match.
Yeah.
I hope to see that match someday if that ever happens. Probably won't,
Yeah.
but yeah, no, from their perspective, 11. From his perspective, if everybody else had told him to fuck off, a 5. Even at that point, a 5. Yeah. Yeah. What about you? What do you think?
No, I agree. Whatever plans were in place, I would assume were wholly and completely on TNA's side of things.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
In terms of discussions about possible ideas of what they could do if Punk were to come to the company.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm sure Punk was there. I think Ace Steel at that point was already working with Impact backstage.
That sounds right, yeah.
Probably visited his friends, saying hi to some people, meeting some people, maybe getting a gauge of what it's like there. But yeah, if every other opportunity was a closed door for CM Punk.
Yeah.
Obviously, you mentioned AEW. That wasn't going to happen.
Marvel Comics, if they were like, we don't want you to be writing here anymore. If Walking Dead post-show panel, they were like, we don't want you here anymore.
Exactly.
If YouTube went down.
All that.
Maven's podcast or whatever his show is. Yeah. All that. There were no other avenues.
Then maybe.
Because he had enough money from AEW and probably even WWE before that. I think he had money, but I think the dude enjoyed, it seemed obvious that once he came back to AEW, he wasn't phoning in those matches. Those matches were really, really good. Yeah. That last one with Joe that was a terrific match. So I think the dude did have the itch to wrestle, and there might have been a little bit of a chip screw those guys. I'm going to go show that I can still do it and be good and everything, which is what we're getting now in
chip on his shoulder
WWE.
a little bit, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. So, yeah, man. Wow, what a great piece of non-news. Let's continue on with this non-news.
Oh, dear.
It's no coincidence that we're bringing you this piece of non-news on Fuck Hulk Hogan Day, because it is, of course, March 13th. Yeah.
Let me check the calendar.
Can you check the calendar? Make sure my math is right on that?
I can't confirm today is Fuck Hulk Hogan Day, but also I'm happy to say tomorrow, Fuck Hulk Hogan Day.
Hold on a second. I know Apple took down like International Women's Day and WWE's not celebrating Black History Month anymore, but let me just double check my Apple calendar here. Everybody still celebrates Fuck Hulk Hogan Day every day, Larson.
Every day. In perpetuity. Every day, every year, every decade. So this comes to us from News 12, Hudson Valley, New York.
I am so happy every time we get wrestling news from Hudson Valley News 12. It's a good day.
Yeah. And for it to happen on Fuck Hulk Hogan Day,
it's an exceptionally great day.
So this particular story is about Hulk Hogan disappointing people again. So apparently he was in the midst of a promotional tour for his pisswater beer he has. I haven't tried it. I'm just making assumptions.
Okay. Listen, allegedly, we gotta cover our bases here, man. Sure. I don't know. Hey, this shit might be bomb. I don't know. This might be. What do you like? The Saint Abbot? What is it? Saint Bernardus?
Saint Bernardus. Yeah.
It might be on par. We don't know. We haven't tried it. We're not gonna try it.
Yeah, I'm not gonna give any money to Hulk Hogan. Definitely not. So he's in the midst of a promotional tour to promote his beer.
Yeah.
Makes a stop in Montgomery, I believe, last week. At a ShopRite last Wednesday. And so apparently people were lining up for 4 hours. And the deal was that he would take pictures, sign autographs for the first 200 people. That is what, who was it that told, Robert Taylor.
Robert Taylor from New Windsor.
With a couple of his kids.
He says they said they were number 185.
Yeah. And so apparently before Robert Taylor and his children were able to meet Hulk Hogan, get pictures taken, autographs and such, Hogan up and left.
Doesn't work for me, brother.
Yeah. So this is what Robert Taylor had to say, courtesy of News 12. Says Hogan left, leaving them, quote, empty-handed. It was real quick. They just stood up and bolted along the back. Some lady was very upset, screaming and cursing. My son just started crying, and a bunch of other kids were crying. And so this article mentions that Hogan had already made 6 stops in the Hudson Valley. I guess Taylor posted a video that's linked here. Looks like on social media of his kids being upset on the drive home, saying about Hogan, "You're the worst."
Okay, well, they got that right. But this is okay. So this is what's wild to me. This is the craziest shit. His kids are 7 and 5 years old. I want you to let that sink in. One of these kids was born like around the pandemic time. Mm-hmm. The other one was born, if my math is right, around 2018. Mm-hmm. That's a solid 25 years past any relevancy Hulk Hogan has had in wrestling. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. In what world do a 5 and 7 year old give one single solitary iota of a quantum shit about Hulk Hogan? Like, Bama comes rolling in here the other day. I was watching whatever was on TV, Raw.
Yeah.
And she does generally, she has a friend in her class. She's actually a year younger, who's really into wrestling. During the pandemic, her and her dad, he was like, hey, I used to watch as a kid, but he watches current stuff.
Yeah.
Who's loading up WrestleMania 5 for their 5 and 7 year old? Being like, you see that leathery hot dog of a human being right there?
Yeah.
That's the man right there, brother. And these kids are like, yeah, look, what? This doesn't pass the sniff test for me, Larson. I tell you what, this seems manufactured.
Interesting.
Maybe some sort of AI situation with Hudson Valley. I don't know. I'm not throwing out accusations. This is just, it's a little weird for me, right? Like, that's a little weird. Bama comes in, and she watched a little bit with me And she sees, she saw, I think the Bianca Rhea EO segment, and she was really into it. She likes the women's wrestling.
Yeah.
Which I was like, hey, kid, sorry, Paul Levesque era. Not getting a whole lot of that these days. So we had to wait for Bayley versus Raquel Rodriguez for her interest to be piqued again.
Yeah.
She's like, I want to see the girls fight. Well, you got to wait for that, brother.
Yeah.
I don't know in any world in which I would be like, hey, check out Hulk Hogan in 2025.
I'm with you.
Even if he was like a stellar human being, even if he was cool as shit, I'm not showing her. I don't know who's actually a decent person. Like, I don't know. I'm not showing her. I'll put it this way. I'm not showing her like Bubba Ray Dudley matches.
That's the example you're going to use. The guy who brought someone backstage because they were booing him or something like that.
You know what? That fan had it coming. DDP. I'm not showing her. Actually, hold on a second. I might show her DDP matches. I like him that much.
Yeah.
She'd be like, he looks like he manages a strip club. Wow, interesting you say that, Banny Bug, because he did.
He did. Yeah. I guess if there are parents out there who are huge Hulk Hogan fans and see him for some reason, I don't know why, as a role model. Again, I don't know why, and then show their children stuff from the 80s WWE. I'm sure those people are out there.
That's
not me.
That is wild to me, though. That is wild. That is wild.
There's
all sorts of people out there. You seen that show? People who have weird tastes for stuff. Like I like to eat glue, or I like to eat glass. You've seen that show before, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those people are out there too. I feel like it's in the same numbers as people who are showing their kids Hulk Hogan matches.
Nostalgia is a hell of a drug, Steve.
How old is this guy? How old is this Robert Taylor guy?
I don't know.
Yeah.
I don't know. And if Hogan was such an important part of his childhood, and he wants to share that with his children, again for whatever reason, I guess it's possible. Ain't happened in the Larson household. I know it ain't happened in the Here household.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Humble's got a really good point though. She says WWE set up a YouTube channel for WCW. He was like, hey, kids, you want to see this epic feud between Hogan and the Dungeon of Doom?
Exactly.
Doesn't show them Bash at the Beach, though. They might cry.
It's true.
You're the worst.
You want to see Hogan's most devastating loss in a monster truck match? No, he won that one, actually.
Don't show him. Don't show. Well, hey, you know what? Don't show him tapping out to the total package Lex Luger.
Nope.
Anyways.
Again, yeah, it may not make a whole lot of sense to us.
Yeah,
but I suppose it's possible.
I mean, this apparently. Look, I think that Hudson Valley News 12, they do really great work over there. They have a stellar track record. If I'm not mistaken, there were hints of Pulitzer. So I think they did their due diligence.
Taylor individual's kind of final words here in this piece is if he had to leave, he could have walked down and shook people's hands and said, hey, I'm sorry, we have to get going, rather than just leaving people stranded.
Well, stranded, he had your car.
Yeah.
I wonder, did he say how many, did Hudson News 12 say how many people?
No, but it said that I believe this family was in line for 4 hours.
They waited 4 hours at the ShopRite in Montgomery? Holy shit.
And so apparently this Taylor guy, when asked if he'd try to see Hogan again, if he tours locally, this guy said, probably not.
He said, my son had a little Pokemon card with him and he wanted him to sign it. You know what? The kids are small. Like these little 5 and 7-year-olds. Like maybe you just go up to somebody else. You find the tallest guy there that isn't Hulk Hogan. Be like, hey, dude, can you tell my kid that you're a wrestler?
Well, who do you want me to be? I don't care. Make up a name.
Make up a name really quick. Large boss man. I don't know.
I don't know.
Anyways, so I put out this. We're gonna get to somebody here really wants us to do like an in-depth. Will Rod here in YouTube chat says, I'm fine with you guys doing smaller news when either show doesn't give their best. But one or both shows has a show like Roadblock. I want an in-depth conversation about that show. Roadblock was amazing. We're going to talk about Roadblock. It's good because there wasn't a ton of promos.
Yeah, it was a wrestling-focused show, and therefore I thought it was pretty entertaining.
Yeah, we're going to talk about that here in just a bit, though, Will Rod. Just relax. Just
trying to have some fun here.
Just relax. We're trying to have some fun. This is, so far, this is my favorite episode of the year.
It's early in the year still.
So this is kind of, I love this kind of stuff here. I realize that I love this when I put up this thread here, because we this is just going to turn into Steven Larson debunks a bunch of internet bullshit.
Oh.
Because we're going to start off. This is the thread that I put up. People asking us to talk about what they've seen in the world of wrestling news. Mark Protatio says the second Evolution Premium live event finally taking place with the tentative date of July 5th. So this comes to us via a user on a bodyslam.net forum.
Oh.
Yeah. So as much as I would love to see an Evolution 2, and I know you would love to see an Evolution 2,
1,000%.
I could bring my kid in here and be like, hey, Paul Levesque, he's letting us eat good today, kiddo.
Yeah.
All women's wrestling. Love to see it.
Absolutely. We'll absolutely love to see it.
I don't know about trusting random user at bodyslam.net, unless maybe this person has a really good track record. I don't know.
I remember reading that report, not on the message board or whatever, but actually on bodyslam.
Really? Okay, so maybe it's like a qualified, or you know, what do you got?
So
more substantial.
Cassidy Haynes wrote up this this piece about it. He said, it was first reported on the bodyslam.net XPWN Discord. The user says WWE is looking to host the Evolution PLE in the near future. Everything on schedule is still tentative, but it's currently set for July 5th at Mohegan Sun, Connecticut.
That's very specific.
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Well,
let's be hopeful.
Yeah.
That it happens.
Okay. Maybe that's manifesting.
Yeah, let's try to make it happen, because it's long overdue. Another Evolution pay-per-view. Mm-hmm. I'd love to see it. Mm-hmm. Steve, I know you'd love to see it.
Love to.
So, let's manifest it. Let's make it happen.
Let's make it happen.
And it seems like, it's coming up on early June. We haven't heard any announcements. Yeah. Let's all start leaning on Triple H. Hey, Paul. Where's this Evolution pay-per-view?
Hey,
we heard it's happening.
Hey, Levesque. My kid wants to watch that shit. There you go. Lean on that guy. Here we go. Dave Matushek wants us to talk about Charlie Tiger and the naked machete incident.
So I didn't get a chance to read up on this. Do you have details?
I do. From something called DMV Pro Wrestling.
Okay. I wonder if I think that's what they call the D.C., Maryland, Virginia areas. Oh, did you say DMC or DMV?
DMV.
Yeah, I think that's the D.C., Maryland, Virginia.
That makes a bit more sense than what I thought it was. The Department of Motor Vehicles Wrestling.
Yeah, that would make a whole lot of sense now.
So this is coming to you from the Department of Motor Vehicles Pro Wrestling. Professional wrestler Charles Hutton, known in the ring as Charlie Tiger, was arrested after a bizarre and disturbing incident on March 6, 2025 at a Sheetz gas station in Pennsylvania. Authorities say Hutton, 24, first stripped off his clothes and charged at people before ultimately stabbing a parked van with a machete. You were worried there for a second.
I was.
I mean, vans aren't people, so that doesn't really matter. Afterwards, Hutton entered the Sheetz store, where he was confronted by several individuals, including a Good Samaritan who successfully disarmed him. Hutton then fled the scene in a Subaru, dropping his machete as he left. Authorities later issued a summons for his arrest. This incident follows Hutton's previous arrest in early 2025, when he allegedly threatened employees at an IRS office in Garfield, New Jersey. Like they ain't got enough problems. He faced charges for making terroristic threats and resisting arrest in that case.
Wow.
He now faces additional charges in Pennsylvania, including assault with a weapon and making terroristic threats. His preliminary hearing is scheduled for April 10th. But he might, I mean, if he's released, he might be there for WrestleMania, so I don't know. So yeah, it's pretty wild.
That is pretty crazy.
Wow. People have too much time on their hands. Charles Hutton. Isn't that Dope's real name? Where was he March 6th? Didn't he say he was going to head back east?
Oh, goodness.
Dope, what are you doing out there, man?
Go.
It can't be stabbing vans, man.
Someone mentioned this on the show. We talked about it briefly from Chipman legend. New Japan having to cancel the first night of the New Japan Cup because the ring post snapped. And so apparently they had to fill the rest of the show with promos.
Compelling. Super compelling.
Yeah.
At that point, don't you just do like a falls count and like a whole
So.
Number one, they might have stumbled onto a great idea. All falls count anywhere pay-per-view.
Yeah. So if one ring post snapped, that means the ring is kind of tilted.
Mm-hmm.
So you try to do a slam, and then people just end up rolling towards the side of the corner of the
It's like when you're kids and you go somewhere and you find a big hill.
You just want to roll down it over and over. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
When I say kid, I mean, these days.
Mid-40s.
I see that. I'm like,
yeah.
oh, man, look at that. And Lacey's like, you're an idiot. Your hips are going to break.
Mr. Enlightened says the TKO news, there'll be a boxing, UFC, and WWE event all combined in one show in Saudi Arabia soon. How would this even work with the ring setup card, etc.? I don't think they're all happening like one after the other in the same day.
Actually, the reporting on this is that being said, and
really, it's going to be UFC fight, boxing, and then WWE just bang, bang, bang all the course one day.
I don't know. I guess
that's too much.
Well, let me put it this way. As soon as I read the name of the person reporting this, I was like,
oh.
I was like, nope, not gonna do that one. Let's see here. Okay, yeah. Dark Dank Lucha says maybe also highlight any fun things that happen around the local wrestling scene. We'll mention this really quick. April 5th, Action Coast Wrestling First Contact, because it's First Contact Day. It's the Star Trek nerd thing. Lady Spookums know what that is. But yeah, hot.
It's also Charlotte
action.
Flair's birthday.
That's right. And
it's the day after Maggie's birthday.
And she also has a birthday on my mom's birthday, same day. Crazy. But Maggie's that cool. She's got 2 birthdays.
She is.
Yeah. That we know of. Might have a third. I don't know. Anyways. Oh, man. I thought that was great. We got the new predictions challenge coming up. WrestleMania, the biggest predictions challenge.
We got
on the line. On the line.
Oh, it cut you.
Yeah, cut me again. The CM Punk Signature Series Championship title. Bootleg edition. Bootleg edition.
It's important to note that because, there's some sharp edges on that thing. You gotta be careful of. We're going to have to have whoever wins it sign a waiver.
Hold harmless.
We're going to sand down some edges.
Look at this, though.
It's really sharp. You can
put
your own.
You know it's a bootleg. Look at this.
You can put your own spinner plate in the middle there.
You get this from the scrapyard? What is this thing?
So that could be yours if you win the WrestleMania Predictions Challenge. Also on the line, a hat. Not this one. This one's mine.
Yeah, I got to design the hat.
Steve's designing a hat.
I said I was going to do it days ago. But yeah, the way you do it, we got, of course, channel memberships here. Click join at youtube.com/Steven Larson. It's $5 a month. But you also get access to the bonus episodes. The predictions challenge is a lot of fun. And then also the question threads for the shows. And then also we got the same deal, but it's over at the Patreon. If you're like, I don't want to give, who owns YouTube? Google? I don't want to give Alphabet my money. If you don't want to do that, patreon.com/Steve and Larson. Go to the Friendo Club setup. It's $5 a month. Either way you do it. The channel membership, $5, or Patreon, $5. Either way you do it, you get access to the predictions challenge. It's a lot of fun keeping track of all that kind of stuff. The current champion, Daniel Acosta Art, won the March predictions challenge, where Elimination Chamber and Revolution decided the new champion. But we're heading into April WrestleMania predictions challenge.
Yep.
It's happening.
Exciting stuff, Steve. I got a good feeling about your chances this next month.
I don't. I keep on getting. I'll be honest with you. I might throw the damn thing again because.
How is that different than your normal efforts?
Yeah, I know exactly. Because this thing is a nightmare.
You want to be rid of it.
I've got like all sorts of. Oh, they're healing up pretty nicely. I haven't been letting my cat rip apart my hand anymore. I was gonna kayfabe that they were made from the title,
Yeah.
but they're actually my cat. But like my hand's healing up pretty well. It's crazy these immune systems and what they do.
Yeah.
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 Anyways.
Yeah. Anyways.
So yeah, I
you
suppose
talk
now.
about Dynamite?
Yeah, we can talk about Dynamite now. You
Or-
want to talk
or
about
NXT?
Dynamite? Let's talk about what's the better show. Roadblock. You want to do Roadblock?
Roadblock
first?
was the better show. Yeah, more happened.
All right, let's do Roadblock first.
We'll do Roadblock first. So, of course, we had all sorts of title matches, some title versus title NXT title matches. We had TNA tag titles on the line. We had the NXT title on the line against the TNA X Division champion. Matches across the board were really fun. Got a little bit of story development. And yeah, I thought it was a really entertaining show.
Yeah, I thought it was really good. I think that putting these kind of shows on, I like that NXT is traveling more. I like that they're
that
doing
venue
it.
was awesome with all the
That
lights on the
venue
ceiling
was
and stuff.
Great. Yeah, that was awesome. Great venue.
Great crowd.
You got to appreciate that NXT. It's such an interesting, just sort of like big picture. It's an interesting juxtaposition between what Triple H and Nick Khan sort of allow HBK to do with the brand, as opposed to what Vince kind of let Triple H do with the brand back in the day, which he seemed to be under. As fun as the Black and Gold brand was, you know, it would always hit kind of a limit as to what they could get away with and what they could do. HBK, this guy's out there putting on these really great, you know, cross promotional matches due to, I guess, necessity, title versus title. He could have handled that a different way, but he went title versus title with Stephanie Vaquer and Julia. Banger match. But he's able to do these really, really fun, cool things, and it pays off. It's just it's a lot of fun. The you know, the viewership is up. It's good stuff. And so yeah, I'm glad that they're out on the road a bit more. That's nice, you know, get out of that building here and there. Makes the crowd in that building probably a bit more appreciative for when they do get the show still. No, and NXT, it's a ton of fun, and Roadblock was a really good show. I think, and I'm really curious to see what they have in store heading into Stand and Deliver as well, because that's going to be, I think, especially given the last 12 months of NXT, Stand and Deliver should be a stellar show. I think they're going to go all out, and I have no idea how, you know, which way they're going to do it. Yeah. But it should be a really, really killer show.
It should. And, you know, we could talk about Stephanie versus Julia title for title here. Fantastic match. There was some reporting ahead of this bout that Julia was dealing with an injury of some nature that's unknown. Therefore, they decided to do this title match so she could drop the title, recuperate from her injuries. Now, I guess the question is, you know, without knowing the nature of the injury, we don't know recuperation time, whether it's extended, whether it's a matter of a couple months. Like, is it possible even she's back in time for Stand Deliver? They can do the rematch. What's next for the North American title? They can have Stephanie carry both those belts. Is she going to have to vacate the North American title? There is a lot of questions heading into Stand Deliver, just in terms of what happened in the outcome of this match.
You know, when Keith Lee won both the North American and the world title, he got called up really shortly after. They didn't really get much of a chance to explore how to approach that properly. Similar to Becky Lynch, she held both. She was a double champion as well. The next pay-per-view, she dropped one of those titles to Charlotte Flair. We just said HBK has seemingly a lot of leeway with what he can do. Let's assume, for the sake of conversation, Julia is ready by Stand and Deliver. Let's just assume that.
Yeah.
What is the coolest thing he could do with double champion Stephanie Vaquer? Is it just a straight up rematch for both titles, for one title? Does she vacate it? What's something interesting that he could do with this that maybe, like, we're not expecting?
You know, it'd be interesting if whether it's Stephanie versus Julia or it's, say, Stephanie versus Julia versus Jordynne Grace. First fall for the North American title, second fall for the world title. Something like that.
Ooh, I like that. That's good. Yeah, I like that. Like the old, was it Intercontinental and European Championship with?
WrestleMania 2000.
Yeah, for sure. No, that's a great idea. That's a really terrific idea. I mean, they've got several people. Even if Julia's out, obviously Jordynne Grace, terrific match with Roxanne Perez. Mm-hmm. She ended up getting the win there. Not a surprise. Roxanne's heading to main roster. Yeah. And so you got her. You still have Zarya, who's like in a weird tag team with Sol Ruca, which is fun. Like they do fun stuff, but like you kind of feel like that's going to be a temporary situation.
Oh yes.
And then you have somebody like Sol Ruca, who's like a homegrown talent, super over, really fun in the ring. Or Jada Parker, as we saw last night. Getting some advice from LFG legend Mickie James. Mm-hmm. But was Bully Ray on the show last night?
No, he wasn't, Steve.
Damn it. Why they going to put Undertaker? Why wasn't Bully Ray the guy to talk to Obafemi? He shows up. He's like, now that she in WWE, you know how to be a real star.
I don't know where the joke ends and the real sentiment begins with this Bully Ray fascination these days, Steve.
Well, if I ever get a shirt, you'll know that I actually put money into it. So it's like...
Yeah, but you're not above putting money in to get a laugh.
Yeah, I know. That might actually be more evidence that it's a gag.
Yeah.
So I don't know what to tell you, man. I know we've known each other for way too long, but still,
I'm assuming this is more of an ironic, haha, type thing.
Is it though? Is it?
Then again, I don't know.
I don't know, man. I know I don't expect, and nor would I ever ask you to watch one of my awesome Twitch streams over at twitch.tv/wrestlingjuice.
When do you stream on there?
Oh, brother. It's whenever.
Oh. Whenever like doesn't always exactly fit into my schedule.
The last two. Yeah. Never when you're available, I don't think. Yes. The last 2 days, it's been at, 3 o'clock, 2:30 or so Pacific to 5, I think.
On what day?
Well, yesterday, factually, was Wednesday. It was Tuesday and Wednesday,
Yeah.
But, if you go and click follow, you'll be notified. So you drop everything, turn on that Twitch.
Yeah.
But I've watched a couple episodes of LFG over there in
you mentioned
direct violation of copyright law.
Yeah.
But I assume that my commentary makes it fair use. And Bully, he's grown on me. I'll be honest with you. No lie.
You mentioned that. I've kind of gathered. Yeah.
Yeah.
Nod and wink.
He would be my coach. I would run through those fools just to make sure I could secure Bully Ray.
I don't know if you can handle the pressure applied by Bully Ray, man, honestly.
I'm up for it.
All right.
I'm up for it.
Let's put this to the test.
Yeah. Well, my knees, my hip, nothing.
Again, excuses already. You think Bully Ray's going to buy that?
See, there you go. You're preparing me for Bully Ray. Good point. Oh man. Anyways, so yeah, I love that idea of putting both of them up. And yeah, Stand and Deliver's like, I don't know, a month away, so it's not like there's any need to. Yeah, but I kind of figure that Ava is gonna drop some sort of info on Tuesday in terms of like how they're going to approach this. I hope they just don't do the thing where you vacate one of them.
I know it's just not the most interesting route they could go. Yeah. Well, let's jump into it. Main event. Stephanie versus Julia, as mentioned, fantastic match. Let's see. The finish saw Julia hit a running knee, gets a 2. She's looking for a finisher. Northern Lights bomb. Stephanie escapes that, then hits a pair of super kicks. Hits a pair of package backbreakers to get the win. Confetti fires off. She's holding up both those titles. Crowd's going crazy.
Mm-hmm.
Great match. Great end to the show. Really,
she is super over.
Yeah.
She is supremely over.
The presentation is great. She's a great wrestler.
Certain people just have that thing where it's like, oh man, these aren't even like wrestling good looks. This is like Hollywood good looks. And when you have that, certain people have that. And she has got that probably more than anybody in WWE. It's like her and maybe Roman Reigns. Like there's just something about her look that it's like you can't take your eyes off that. Moose. I'm still disappointed that he's still using that. His old school theme song was so good.
Yeah, it was
good. It was so good, but whatever.
It was good.
Hell of a match between him and Obafemi.
Yeah, this was fantastic.
This was really good stuff. Just two big dudes going at it. Give me more of that kind of stuff. And Moose had him on the ropes here for a bit. He hits him with a spear. Oba kicks out of that. Moose goes for another one, runs into a power bomb instead, and Oba gets that cover for the win. But hell of a match between these two. What do you think should be next for Obafemi? We got
I'll say this.
Trick and Eddie Thorpe is coming up with a Raw Underground match.
Next week, the Underground match. I would assume that Trick wins that. I still feel like it's going to be Trick versus Oba one-on-one at Stand Deliver.
I think so, yeah, and that's why they're sort of turning Trick a bit bad guy-ish. Because they're, Oba's he's a babyface basically. He's just a dominant dude.
Yeah.
But people want to cheer him, and they're gonna try to get that dynamic of like, oh, Trick's kind of a bad guy now.
Yeah.
Because otherwise, you go in there and he's all like happy dude, and then he loses. I don't know how people are gonna respond to that, but if you have him be a bad guy, probably be better.
Also, before the Oba Moose match, Undertaker told Oba, you know how important this match is? You got to go out there and defend your yard.
I mean, what does that even mean? Give me Bully Ray. He's going to give him some real good advice.
Like what? Give me an example.
Oh, man, I don't know. That is the thing about Bully Ray on LFG. The dude actually gives really good advice. Undertaker gets in there, and it's like, what am I supposed to do with this information? I'm going to tell you something. I'm going to give you some advice. Make sure it all counts. Okay, what do I do with it? Meanwhile, Bully's like, listen, if you position yourself here in the ring and you position yourself here, it's not going to be as impactful. If you move 90 degrees over here and then tilt your head this way, and it's like, oh my God, that makes sense.
It does make sense, but it's not. There's no catchphrase involved in that. Like, where's the hook in that, Steve?
Right, but I want substance, man. I want some meat. I need to know where to be in the ring and how to tilt my head. I don't know what this, use your powers of the darkness. What the fuck? How does that help me? Doesn't help me, man.
No, it wouldn't help you at all. You have no powers of the darkness.
Mickie James is really good too. I can't wait to see her in season 2. Michelle!
Yeah. Why couldn't they have Mickey and Michelle on the show?
I'm hoping, especially because like Mickie was on at Roadblock.
Yeah.
I'm thinking that maybe she was like, hey, you know what? I'm not available. It's very likely that she was just like, I'm good.
That could be.
You would think that if they like kicked her off or whatever, like she'd be like, okay, screw you guys. I'm not going to go to Roadblock.
That could be.
So I'm hoping it's all amicable and it makes sense,
Ideally,
whatever it is.
Yeah. Mickie James is great.
Oh, she's awesome, man. She's in terms of like Bully Ray's all about like telling the story and like the emotions involved with it. Mickie James is just like in there. Okay, this is how you do a good,
like
headlock.
The technical aspects of it.
Yeah, right. Yeah.
So as expected, we had the Hardys successfully defend their TNA Tag Team Championships against Fraxium. It's a fantastic match once again. Some miscommunication lead to Fraxium hitting the move on each other, leads to them losing. Often they are able to overcome that. Not this time. So whether you see Jeff shove Frazier in front of him as Axiom's looking for a missile drop kick, so Frazier eats it. Matt then hits Frazier with a twist of fate. Jeff follows with a swanton to get the win. Really fun match, though. These last two matches that the Hardys have had in NXT have been some of the best matches they've had in a while.
Yeah, absolutely. You got to wonder if the TNA schedule really is beneficial to them. They get like 2 months to rest their bodies in between tapings or whatever it is. I don't know what it's like, once a month, I guess. But it seems like a really good spot for them. So, and I know especially Matt always seems like the kind of guy who's like, let's do more. He's probably going to want another full-time main roster WWE schedule or some shit like that.
Yeah.
But if it works for their health, both physically and mentally, then maybe that's the place to stay. And then if WWE wants to bring him in for a little bit of WrestleMania action, go ahead and do that, I guess.
Not?
Yeah, that could be fun.
Why not?
I mean, dude, I could see, I don't know, New Day versus the Hardys again. That'd be fun.
That'd be great.
That'd be cool.
Great. As mentioned earlier by Steve, we had Jordan Grace take on Roxanne Perez. Roxanne was working Jordan Grace's legs throughout this match. Nonetheless, Grace gets the win after evading a Pop Rocks. Roxanne's looking for a backslide, gets a 2 there, and then Jordan hits a DVD, follows with it used to be called the Juggernaut Driver, I believe.
Yeah.
I don't know if they're going to rename her finisher.
Dude, I think they did. Didn't Corey? Well, I thought I heard Corey just yelling a weird phrase at the end.
Yeah,
I was
I
like,
can't remember
oh,
what
is
it
that
was,
the name
though.
of it?
Yeah.
Somebody in the chat might have the name. But yeah, I heard that. I was like, oh, is that the name of the finish now? Okay.
Yeah.
Whatever. Beast
mode. That's what it was. Beast mode.
Thank you, Pontus. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Yeah, that was a phrase used throughout this match. So then backstage, Fallon Henley walks up to Ava and is like, where's my North American title rematch? I want a rematch. And so Ricky Saint steps in and says, why is everybody so angry around here? And JC says, you know what? Ridge had the right idea. You don't belong here. So Fatal Influence leaves. Ricky tells Ava, I want a match with Ridge. She books it for next week. Ethan Page walks up and tells Ricky, NXT doesn't like outsiders. And then he goes to the ring for his street fight against Javon Evans.
Ricky needs to stop being so surprised at how hungry everybody is in NXT. You're in developmental, pal. They're getting paid like 5 figures.
Let me ask you something.
Yeah.
Is this whole thing where Ricky's backstage at NXT and everybody's kind of at each other's throats, is this a rib against AEW with the backstage issues that were there?
Kind of feels like it, doesn't it?
It does, doesn't it?
Yeah, it does. It does. Yeah. We had another terrific match between Ethan Page and Javon Evans. New York City street fight. Pretty shocking, not shocking the outcome, but the whole, wrapping the chair around the dude's neck and then doing a bunch of crazy shit.
The cutter and stuff, yeah.
That was some pretty gnarly action right there.
It was. Javon Evans is so good.
Dude,
he's
that
so dang good.
Leap from the ring to the table, and he overshot that by a mile. Oh my God. This kid is so great. He really is.
Yeah. He's going to be a massive star. He should be the person to beat Obafemi for that NXT title. So then after Evans gets the win with the springboard cutter after he put the chair around Page's neck, then this new faction, which I don't believe they have a name yet, comes in and lays out Javon.
Yeah, I wonder, when do you think they're going to actually get a move on with this? Because it seems to be a bit copy and paste right now, which I know they're setting it up. I'm not saying that they're, but at some
certain point we need mission statement.
Yeah.
Yeah. We need to know what they're about.
Who's the leader? What's the
goals,
dynamic?
their motivations.
Which coach would they choose on LFG? And why is it clearly Bully Ray?
Anyways, speaking of LFG, Jada Parker had a conversation with Mickie James backstage. Jada tells Mickie, I'm me watching the main event because I got next. And Mickie says, always tell my LFG team to make their own opportunities. And I know you, Jada, don't want to wait. You make no apologies and you take it. And you belong at the top with Julia and Stephanie. So if you want to make your claim, then you better go get it. And Jada tells Mickie that she's locked in.
Yeah. Yeah, this was good stuff.
It was.
Yeah, I could see, man. Here's the thing, the women's division is so stacked. They can't have Stephanie rolling with both those titles for too long.
Yeah.
I love the idea where you put them both on the line in the same match, so I think that's good for the falls. Put Jada Parker in there. She needs to win that North American title. Especially if Jordan Grace is only going to be in NXT for until the draft. She don't need a title right
now. We had more advancement in the Trick Eddie Thorpe feud. So we get this video package where Trick says Eddie thinks Underground is his match. And he says, fuck that. It's time for me to get back where I belong, and that's on top. So later, Eddie has an interview in the crowd and responds to Trick's promo. Eddie says he's the king of the Underground, and he knows that Trick doesn't like being hit. He knows that Trick wants the NXT title again, but he's going to choke just like the Knicks. And as he's saying that, Trick's running down the aisle behind him, lays him out. They brawl in the ring. Trick clotheslines Eddie out, and then Eddie is held back by security. So Trick stands tall here. Does that put any thought in your head that Eddie could win the Underground match? That'd be 3 wins for Eddie, right, over Trick? Or is it just 2?
He did the strap match.
Didn't he pin him in a tag match?
Did he pin him in a tag match?
At least 2. Here, I'll look that up.
He screwed him over in the yeah. It was Trick and it was Trick and Obafemi versus who? Ridge Holland.
Ridge pinned him. That's right.
Okay. All right. I honestly don't think at this point. No, Trick has to win that.
Yeah.
HBK is just circumventing the conventions of pro wrestling with this. Trick has to win that because he's got to go to Stand and Deliver.
Yeah.
Because this is basically like a number 1 contenders match.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah.
At this point.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know.
So we got some intrigue in terms of what's next for the D'Angelo family. So we're backstage, and Stax is talking to Luca and Rizzo. And he's like, oh, I knew Tony shouldn't have competed last week. His back's all jacked up, but it's my fault that Tony isn't champion anymore. I let my temper get the best of me. And they start to kind of push back on that. He's like, no, you don't know what we've been through. So Tony steps in and says, but I do. You're the underboss, and you should know that emotion is a sign of weakness. We're at our best when we have a game plan. Stack's like, I'm on it. I got us a 6-man tag or 6-person tag against, I guess they're called the Culling now, the Spears family.
Oh, okay. There you go.
That's what I gathered from that video package that we'll talk about here in a second. So it's going to be Stax, Luca, and Rizzo against Izzy, Dame, I think Nico, and Brooks.
Makes sense.
And Tony's like, where do I fit into all this? And Stax says, well, since I cost you the match, I'm going to take care of it. And Tony's like, you don't have to do that, but if that's what you want to do, fine.
Mm-hmm.
So then we have another one of those video packages about Sean Spears' family, I guess the Culling, where they're just talking about their mission. Spears says, exhilarating to taste gold, but we're not finished. Last week we took their gold. Next week we take their heart.
Oh, wow. I mean, I know how you can take gold. How do you, take somebody's heart beyond, surgery?
I mean, like in Temple of Doom, that dude just ripped people's hearts out of their chest.
This is another form of surgery, really.
I mean...
Not very sanitary. And then Sol Ruca challenges Chelsea Green for the United States Championship next week. And we had a little fun Instagram video where they were doing one of them break rooms.
Yeah.
Is that what they call it? No.
I can't remember what they're called, but I know you're talking about where you just go to a room and you break stuff.
You just break a bunch of shit. Yeah. It was cute. It was funny.
It's too bad they couldn't use Limp Bizkit's break shit to soundtrack this.
Probably a lot of money. Man, we're doing a rewatch of The Americans.
Yeah.
Well, like a completion watch. We only watched it to a certain point.
Yeah.
Now we're
you're going to that point and then further. Yeah.
Yeah. Now the first episode of the last season, and it's like, oh my God, their budget was through the roof. They had a flock of seagulls.
Oh wow.
They had no, I'm sorry, it's not flock of seagulls. It was hey now, don't dream.
Yeah. Crowded House.
Yeah. Crowded House. They had Crowded House. They had an REM song from around 87. I forget which one.
Cheap.
Fall on Me? Maybe Fall on Me. And then there was a third one. I think it was Elton John.
Wow.
Yeah. Isn't that crazy?
That's why they call it the blues.
Sadly, no, it wasn't that one. Oh,
was it I'm Still Standing?
No, it was the Goodbye Yellow Brick Road.
Oh, all right. That's not from the 80s, though.
Talk to the producers, I guess. I don't know.
All right, very well.
Yeah.
All right, let's talk Dynamite. It's a lot of talking. Apparently, it's because people were hurt out of Revolution, so they couldn't wrestle, so we just got a lot of talking instead.
I mean, understandable, I guess. Understandable. Yeah. Just, I don't know. It was just something. You know what, man? This is such a dumb thing, and I know you don't care about this, but I kind of do. When Kenny Omega comes out with his championship.
Oh, and he's wearing shorts and a t-shirt?
Wear a suit. It just makes everything look more important when you put on. I know that's such a stupid thing, but it's kind of a thing.
I get it, because presentation is important. It is.
He looks so great in a suit. The dude looks amazing regardless, but in a suit, it's like, oh, this is special Kenny.
Yeah, but I guess he's trying to separate, because suit Kenny was heel Kenny.
I know. But he looks so good.
He's a regular every dude Kenny now.
Well, if he wears pastels or some powder blue, like a church outfit, it doesn't need the full suit, like a button-up shirt.
What if, even if it's just, jeans and a decent shirt?
Yeah. It's coming out there like he just went to the gym.
Yeah.
It's a
CM
stupid.
Punk does
it's a
that
stupid
sometimes
program.
too. He always wears the cutoff shirt and his gym pants.
Yeah.
He does that all the time.
Punk kind of does that to separate himself, I think, from the larger presentation of other people. It's like, hey, I'm one of you guys. You're always chanting my name.
Maybe that's
But
why Kenny's doing that.
Nah, but in AEW, everybody does that. everybody in AEW just shows up and they go out there.
Yeah.
Except for Toni Storm. She talks about the future of the AEW women's title, and it seems like it's happening pretty quickly because she gives this great promo.
Oh, it's really good. Yeah, it's really good.
But she says, you know what? I had my Hollywood ending. Now it's time for a new beginning. It's my honor to be your champion because this is the most talented locker room in all of wrestling. We have a lot of different champions. Maybe too many titles. No, she didn't say that. She says the other world title's in a bloody briefcase. She says, we have forever champions, belt collectors, but when you fight with me, it's like visiting the zoo because I bleed like a pig, I lick like a giraffe, and I'll eat you like a lion. She says, nobody swings like Toni Storm. So, ladies, put your keys in the bowl and let's get this orgy started. It'll be messy and sweaty, but it'll always be timeless. And then Megan Bayne comes out and blasts Toni. Now, they are building up Megan Bayne in a major way. Is it too soon for her to be coming after Toni Storm?
So I wonder... So we see Megan Bayne later in the show, after Willow's match with Penelope Ford, because Statlander comes down and makes a save for Willow because Penelope's beating up Willow post-match. Megan's in the midst of a feud with Chris Statlander right now. So I wonder if it's a situation where Megan Bayne attacks Toni here to put the thought in people's head, this is something that's going to be happening, but it's not going to happen until Megan Bayne finishes up her story with Statlander.
That could be. I mean, there's a million ways you can derail, that actual match. If they want to get a move on with it now, I mean, because they're basically building to July at this point. They're building to All In.
Even though they have 2 pay-per-views in between.
They got Dynasty and they have Money or Double or Nothing.
Double or Nothing in May, yeah.
Yeah. But they're really trying to sell those tickets for Texas. Understandable. They got like a ton of them to sell. So maybe they do it there. Maybe they, hold off until that point, or maybe they do a triple threat with Toni, Stat, and Megan Bayne. Toni gets the win, but she ends up pinning Statlander at one of these pay-per-views, and then they go on and do the Toni Megan match in Texas.
Yeah.
If that's going to be the big thing.
That could be. I did appreciate that when she, references Forever Champion, that's Athena.
Mm-hmm.
And the belt collector would be Mercedes.
Mm-hmm.
And especially the belt collector line got a reaction from the crowd because people's like, oh, she's talking about Mercedes.
Mm-hmm. I mean, that's a bigger match. That's a big match for Texas. If you want Megan Bayne to be a big deal, but like doesn't need the title on her yet, you build her in this way. She kills everybody else, and then she loses to Toni, and Mercedes happens in July. You could do that too.
I mean, even if you just put the thought out there that Megan's coming for the title, and you push till the last third of the year,
Yeah, you wait.
This is just all about foreshadowing and putting the thought in people's head.
Yeah.
You don't have to rush it. Megan is getting obviously a push. Her presence, her presentation is off the charts.
Mm-hmm.
We don't have a real sense of who her character is yet.
You just want to make sure, though, because of what you just said, that this isn't one of those situations where Tony's like, oh, wow, this person's great. I'm going to push the shit out of them right now, not take any time to build them.
Yeah.
And then like,
Yeah, this is why it's important to take your time and really establish who Megan Bayne's character is beyond the incredible presentation. So, guess what, Steve? We're getting Cope versus Mox again. It was so great the first time. They're going to do it again. Street fight next week.
We just had that match.
Yeah, it stunk.
Right. Why would they do that again?
Because of the nature of the ending, they decided to book that match again. This time, street fight. You got that right, buddy.
Yeah, I'm for the audio crowd. I'm putting both thumbs down.
Yeah, double thumbs down.
Yeah, I mean, I get it, but it's a street fight. It's gonna have a weird finish, also.
Yeah.
So
this time the Death Riders can interfere, and there's no disqualification. They can be involved to their heart's content.
Yeah. Right. Yeah.
So then the winner of that match will face Swerve at Dynasty because after Revolution, Swerve has an interview and he talks about winning the title last year at Dynasty. Says April 6th, I'm going to do it again. And then Cope walks up to him and he was like, talks about his match in Omaha. And he says, well, if I win, I faced you at Dynasty. But then if I don't, and then you become champ at Dynasty, then we're going to face down the road eventually. So good luck.
So when Nana told Swerve, we need the old Swerve, this is a situation that would have been perfect to illustrate that, where Swerve takes one look at Cope and then he slaps the teeth out of his mouth.
Yeah.
And says, I don't care what you just said. That was a lot, but your face annoys me and I'm going to beat you up now because I'm Violent Swerve. You know, he like slaps him to the ground and then he gets up on like a road case and he gives the big Swerve stomp to him. Like, let's see Violent Swerve back. That's what we want to see.
in there too, Steve.
Yeah, one of those nasty ones where it just hits flush.
Yeah.
Yeah, because this old WWE guy stepping to Swerve, oh my gosh. Come on, Swerve. Start slapping people.
Yeah. So then Mox has a promo. He credits Cope for his grit. But says
he just kept coming and coming and coming. This guy won't stop coming.
Yeah.
Jeez, Mox.
I underestimated.
Is it a Tony Storm promo or what?
I underestimated you once. I'm not going to do it again. I'm not going to make the same mistake twice.
Fool me once. Can't fool me again.
So then Kenny, to open the show, has a promo where he talks about winning the international title. He says he's got to thank the fans, doctors, and a surprising friend, Will Ospreay. He says, never thought I'd win a singles title again. He says, Takeshita pushed me harder than I ever could have pushed myself. And then he announces that we're going to have a Dynasty Eliminator tournament. So it's single elimination the first round, leading to a four-way match. Winner of that four-way match faces Kenny for the international title at Dynasty. And so as he's making his way up the ramp, the Ops walk down for their match against Vinny Pacifico, Eli Theseus, and Gabriel Eros. Of course, Ops win that very quickly after Shibata hits a penalty kick.
There's a nice little, stare down between Shibata and Kenny Omega.
Yep.
Smojo in there a little bit too.
Shibata's in the tournament. Important to note. His first round match against Ricochet. He has a promo next where he's talking about how his quest for gold isn't over. He says, I don't want that ugly world title anyways. He says the international title, though, looks pretty. Look even better around my waist. That's why I entered the tournament. He says, I know everything about Shibata. So I'm going to give him the option to forfeit before Saturday because I'm afraid of what I'm going to do to him. It's still my time, and that's a promise. Ha-ha!
That was pretty good. It was a good promo.
It was. He's doing good work.
Yeah, he is. We had a Frank Mortos Dynamite sighting. This time against...
this was a tournament match,
a tournament match against Wild Card. But Wild Card ended up being revealed as Speedball Mike Bailey. I was kind of hoping they would just re-gimmick him as Wild Card, a Tony Khan original
it'd be cool
creation.
if Tony Khan, along with Hologram, had another character idea named
That's what I'm saying.
Card.
Wild Card. And it's like, we're all like, oh, that's Speedball Mike Bailey. But no, now in AEW,
he's all like decked out like a Uno Wild Card.
Yes. Yeah. Is that the one with the 4 colors on it?
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. And it's all Uno references.
Yeah, and his finisher, of course, Draw 4.
The Draw 4. Exactly. And it's the same move.
Yeah, it's still Ultimo Weapon.
Still Ultimo Weapon, but it's a Draw 4.
Even though he didn't use Ultimo Weapon to win this, like Excalibur is hyping up Ultimo Weapon during this match. And he didn't hit the actual one off the top rope.
That is
the standing one.
The most AEW thing you could possibly do.
Dude, there was at least 2 times last night where someone else on commentary was trying to get a point across and Excalibur just talked right over him.
Yeah, he does that shit.
Oh, it was annoying.
It makes me anxious hearing his commentary. I've never thought that could be possible, but it makes me anxious sometimes hearing his commentary because I'm like, take a breath, man.
Yeah.
Stop talking so much.
Yeah, he talks a lot. Anyways, this is a good match.
He gets paid per word, apparently.
Maybe. Mike Bailey gets the win. He does hit the standing Ultimo Weapon, then does like a spinning kick to get the W.
Yeah.
Good match, though.
Good stuff.
So you got to think that Mike Bailey's probably the odds-on favorite to win this tournament. He'll win next week because Orange beat Hechicero in the main event. A good match.
Yeah.
Mike Bailey's in there. You got to think Ricochet will probably beat Shibata.
Mm-hmm.
And then, gosh, what's the fourth match? I don't remember what the fourth match is.
I forget.
I didn't write down the bracket here. I'll look that up real quick.
All right. We also had Orange Cassidy versus Hechicero in a Dynasty Eliminator tournament match. Kind of figured who was going to win this.
Oh, it's Mark Briscoe versus Mark Davis. So Mark Briscoe's going to win that.
Yeah, probably.
Unless, they might have Mark Davis win. They need to
do something with Mark Davis, man.
And Mark Davis takes the pin in the 4-way match.
Okay, so wait, what is it again? It's single elimination, and then the people who get through this
there's
first
these
matches?
Look at it essentially as 4 qualifying matches to make it to this 4-way match.
Okay. So you're saying it's Speedball,
Speedball's
Orange
in, Cassidy's in, and then Ricochet it takes on Shibata. I would guess Ricochet would advance.
Ricochet will probably win that.
But I could be wrong about that. And then Mark Davis versus Mark Briscoe.
Ricochet kind of needs to be protected. Speedball definitely needs to be Speedball's going to win. And then Orange Cassidy ain't going to eat a pin. So, I mean, honestly, either Mark can eat a pin. But you got to figure that maybe Davis, they got to give Davis something to do.
Yeah.
Got to give him something to do.
You'd think so.
Anyway,
so, yeah, main event
Orange
match
Cassidy
was good.
Wins this match, yeah.
Orange wins with the mouse trap. And then Speedball walks out the stage and points at Orange Cassidy.
Yeah. We had an MJF promo after his Hangman Adam Page match at Revolution. Beforehand, after the actual match, we see what happened, where Lexi tries to get a word with MJF. She opens up the locker room door, and he punches a mirror, and he says, "Get out of here." So he comes to the ring, and it's just a lot of talking. It's like, my hand hurts, I got a headache, my body hurts. He says, but what hurts the most is the fact that I know it. You're all dumb, ignorant losers. I had that match won on Sunday, but Hangman decided to cheap shot me like he did back in 2019 and got a cheap victory. He says, I'm not upset anymore. I thought long and hard about it. The fact of the matter is I'm 10 times smarter than you. I think 10 steps ahead of everybody. I'll get mine. This ain't over, not by a long shot. That brings out MVP. So they act like it's contentious, but then they hug and they're all friendly. And MVP, of course, talks about what happened a long time ago when he saw so much potential in MJF from a long, long time ago. And he says, you know what? Here's the deal, though. Nobody fears you. Nobody respects you. Nobody likes you. You've lost your luster. So here's my business card. Come join the Hurt Syndicate. That's the essence of the promo there.
Yeah.
Do you think MJF is going to join the Hurt Syndicate? And if not, what is this?
No, I don't think he is. I mean, I guess if if MVP's thesis is MJF, you've lost your edge, no one fears you, we're feared. You know, if nothing else, whatever the nature of this program is with MJF and the Hurt Syndicate, you know, because I guess right now Max's story is trying to prove to himself and to everybody that he can win without cheating, and then as Hangman says, that he does in fact care what people think about him. And that, the second half especially, feeds what MVP is saying. Because I don't think the characters of MVP, Bobby Lashley, or Shelton Benjamin care any what people think about them. They want to go out there and do what, Steve?
Hurt people.
Hurt people.
They were given the week off, though, to go have fun.
Yeah, they are on vacation. Yes.
Yeah, MVP said, go have some fun.
Yeah. So, I would imagine the story, you know, it could go one of two ways. MJF, whatever the nature of this program is, either regains his edge via a program with Hurt Syndicate, or is kind of pushed further into questioning whether he still has an edge. I know it's not an answer to your question.
Well, you're dancing around the obvious. It's going to be him versus Bobby Lashley.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. I was trying to think in more grander terms than just a match. Yeah.
Everything of what you're saying is true. It's basically like he took a big loss against Hangman Adam Page, one of his contemporaries. He needs a big win. So somehow, some way, they're going to convince us that that him beating Bobby Lashley makes any amount of sense in the world.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You don't think it could be Shelton Benjamin?
Oh, he'll beat him too.
Oh.
I'm sorry, man. Hate to break it to you, Larson.
Yeah. So MVP.
He's about to run through the Hurt Syndicate.
So MVP.
Oh man, yeah. Hurt Syndicate had a hard time against those clownsy outrunners.
Is it going to be because they took a couple weeks off?
Yeah, it was because they went and had fun. Exactly.
So,
well, Shelton said they're not skipping the gym, so
yeah. So MVP offers MJF his card, and MJF pushes his hand down and says, "With all due respect, you're on the short list people I respect in this sport, but I'm not the same kid I was all those years ago. I don't need your help, and I damn sure don't need your advice. I'm MJF, and whether these morons want to hear it or not, I was champ for 406 consecutive days." MVP says, "Focus on the word was." He offers the card again. MJF takes it. MVP gets right in MJF's face and taps him on the shoulder with his cane and walks out.
What's entirely possible is they've set this up without any real, like, this actually might be more likely. They've set this up without running it by Bobby Lashley. And they just drop it because backstage Bobby's like, "I'm not going to lose to this guy. What are you talking about?" Yeah. No, he was champion for 460 days. Yeah, look at him. I should not be taking losses against this guy. And then they just drop it. We never hear about it again. That is entirely possible.
It's entirely possible. It's possible that they're like, well, no, it's like MVP put the thought in MJF's head now. Now you got to find your edge again.
Yeah,
The card is a source of inspiration as opposed to a proper invitation either for feud or membership in Hurt Syndicate.
They could play it off that way, yeah.
Yeah. So later on, Renee is trying to interview Hangman backstage. He bumps into MJF. And MJF's like, "Hey, you want to throw hands?" And Paige is like, "No. You mean you want me to finish breaking your neck? No, I got something to do to you that's worse. You tried to light me on fire last week. The thing about that, I don't believe you. When you do something like that, you have to mean it. You know what else I don't believe about you? Sunday, you let the mask slip, didn't you? I was right. You care about what these people think of you." And MJF says, "Oh, you think I'm bluffing? What I'm going to do is I'm going to call your bluff." He says, "I don't think what happens next in our story, you beat me, but next I go on to become multiple-time champion, greatest of all time. You know what you're going to do? You're going to get to the verge, the top of the mountain, and then when you're about to reach the pinnacle, you tumble all the way back down." Says, "When your mask slips off, your biggest insecurity is that you don't think you deserve these people's love. And guess what? You're right. One day these people are going to get sick of waiting for you to win the big one while I win the world title over and over again. I'll be laughing at you all the way at the top of the mountain." And Paige says, "We'll see, won't we?" And MJF leaves.
Yeah, these guys have really good chemistry.
They do.
Yeah. We had a long Will Ospreay promo, too. This out of everybody, he probably gets the biggest pass in terms of, like, you want to come out there and just talk a lot, that's cool. You put on that 30-minute absolute just devastating
I know,
match.
but it's a long-winded way to say I want a shot at the title, which is pretty much what this was.
So, all right. We got two guys that now want to go to Texas and be the guy to dethrone Mox. We got Will Ospreay, who comes out there and just drops a really, really long promo, and it's great. He's fantastic. He's very personable. He talks about, his wife calling him and, him being in trouble and whatnot. He jumped off the cage. Yeah, for jumping off the cage. He's asked what's next by Tony, and he says next week Cope has his title match. Then at Dynasty, Swerve has his. So he's basically saying it's time for the world title. He says, he looks at the All In sign and says, "I've set myself on a mission because I want to be in the main event of All In, and the way I can get there is by entering the Owen tournament. If it's Cope, I can't wait for the first time ever. If it's Swerve, I can't wait for the rematch. If it's Mox, the one true king, a warning, an assassin is coming for the throne. I want to be the guy because I know I can do it." And he says, "The people here trust me to carry AEW." Well, there's another guy who wants a shot at that. and his name is Switchblade Jay White. So right after the Ospreay thing, we get an interview with Jay White. Talk some shit about Will Ospreay. He says maybe we can see each other in the ring again. He says congratulations about your win at Revolution, talking about Ospreay. He says, but if you want a main event All In, they're gonna have to keep protecting you from me. And so Renee asks about Revolution. He says, I want everybody to know that if I hit Cope on purpose, he asked Renee and Fresno if he did it on purpose, and they're like, no. He says, luckily, I get a rematch, but he gets a rematch, sorry. He says, as far as who's the number one contender, I gave everything to take down the Death Riders, and I'll be damned if anybody gets a shot at becoming the AEW World Champion. I mean, if both dudes enter the Owen, I could see it being Ospreay versus Jay White, essentially as a number one contender, and Ospreay wins that. Do you think Ospreay is the guy at All In that dethrones Jonathan Moxley?
You know, I'll believe they deviate from the Darby Allin course when I see it. You know, if at the conclusion, well, it won't happen. At the end of Double or Nothing, after Mox beats his opponent there, Darby comes back, attacks Mox. You know, I don't know what the time frame exactly is going to be for the Owen. Gets on the mic, says, I'm going to be in the Owen tournament, and I'm going to face you, Mox, All In. Then I'll assume Darby's going to win, and he'll face Mox at All In and win the title at that juncture.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
If we don't see Darby at all through this spring, Owen starts, he's not in it. All right, maybe they change course.
Yeah. Wouldn't be a terrible move just to do it for Ospreay. Yeah. Would not be a terrible move.
Nope.
Sean Ross Sapp, 11 minutes ago, tweeted out, one source claimed to FightfulSelect.com that Jeff Cobb is on WWE's internal roster.
Wow.
Yeah.
Jeff Cobb's great.
Jeff Cobb is awesome. How would you book Jeff Cobb in WWE, Larson?
Winning a lot of matches.
That was what I was thinking, too.
Yeah.
He goes. You know, honestly, he should go to NXT. I know he's ready for main roster. He should go to NXT. They desperately need dudes like that.
They desperately need, like, main event.
Desperately.
Had another long talky bit here. Cracks are apparently forming in the patriarchy. So Renee's trying to interview Christian, and he says, you're related to John Moxley, right? I'm not going to talk to anybody related to John Moxley. Get out of here. So she leaves. And he says, essentially, which this doesn't make a lick of sense, but I think that's the point. He says, when I handed my contract to the ref, I specified that I won a one-on-one match against Cope, and he made it a three-way, and I was not expecting that. Therefore, Mox took advantage and choked me out. The problem with that rationale is Cope wasn't champion.
Was he? Yeah, I know. You're right. I'm wondering if maybe he thought Cope. I don't know, man.
It doesn't make any sense. But given how Nick Wayne was eye rolling through this whole thing, I think the idea is he's just making excuses.
Not supposed
because
to
he goes
sense.
on some more about how he really didn't pass out, and that's when Nick says, you're making excuses, you're lying to yourself, to these people, to us. You don't remember the original plan? Maybe if you just stuck to it, you'd be champion now. Not only do you owe us an explanation, you owe us an apology. And Christian says, I don't want it to come to this, and so he shoves Nick Wayne against the wall. Well, Nick's mom steps up, and Christian says, you got something to say? Say it. Just know when you do, you'll be back working the midnight shift at Waffle House. So she stands down. And Christian says to Wayne, who are you to question me and my tactics? How many world titles have you won? How many world titles did your biological father win? You should thank your lucky stars I fan you, because you would have ended up a loser like your father, a coward that died in front of your mother's face. I'm not a coward. You don't think I'm good enough? I'm going to be AEW champion. It's the last thing I do. I suggest you keep your mouth shut and keep running my coattails, because the next time we have this conversation will be the last time.
Yeah, I thought it was a pretty strong promo from Christian. I just hope they don't do the thing where they actually give him the contract back.
No, there's no. Like, I mean, it's pretty ironclad. Signed contract, turned it in. I don't see.
Legally, I think you're correct there, but weird.
It wasn't like Nick Wayne signed it for him and handed it to the ref.
Yeah, like the Money in the Bank thing.
Yeah.
I already mentioned Hurt Syndicate going on vacation. I got to beat feet here not too long from now, so we got to wrap this thing up.
Yeah, we do. So Billy Starks is in this interview with Mercedes. Apparently, Mercedes asked her to be there, and Mercedes is kind of coughing throughout this promo because she says she got kicked in the throat by Momo. And then Billy says, we have a lot in common. Wrestling's our lives. You say money changes everything. Well, I've been looking for a change, and next week I'm looking to change it to a champ. So Mercedes laughs, then coughs, and says, "You're way out of your league. I appreciate you're a student of the game, though, so I'm going to teach you that there's a price to pay when you mess with Mercedes Moné." So next week we're getting Billy versus Mercedes.
You think next week we're gonna get Athena coming out?
Possible.
It'd be pretty cool.
That would be pretty cool.
That'd be pretty neat. Yeah, dude. I'm looking forward to, because they keep on teasing Athena coming to Maine. I think that'd be great.
Mm-hmm.
We also had Willow Nightingale versus Penelope Ford. Willow gets the win. Afterwards, Ford gets a chair, blasts Willow with it, starts stomping on her, and then Chris Statlander runs to the ring, makes a save. Willow pushes her away when Statlander tries to make good, but then Megan Bayne drops both of them with clotheslines, hits Statlander with an F5.
Yeah.
So I don't know what the math is in terms of, obviously we're going to probably get like a reluctant tag team and then an actual tag team between Willow and Statlander taking on both Ford and Megan Bayne.
Could be.
But I still feel like at some point you got to get to Willow versus Mercedes. I don't know. Yeah. I don't know what the likelihood of that at this point is, but it seemed like that was the natural course.
Yeah, I don't know. So then Max Caster comes to the ring. He's got a promo. He's got another open challenge. He tries to get that chant that he started in Sacramento over in Fresno. Doesn't work. Crowd boos. Calls them all stupid. Takeshita comes to the ring. And Caster is like, "There's no way you're here to wrestle me. I'm the best wrestler alive. I'd kill you." He says, "Oh, you're here to invite me to the Callis family. Maybe if I joined, I can main event Tokyo Dome or get a recording contract to do the thing you couldn't do, beat Kenny Omega." So Takeshita just lays out Max with the forearm, covers him, pulls him up, and then hits him with Raging Fire to get the win.
Crowds really need to start trying that chant because I think it's a very good chant.
The rhythm of it is not like
"Let's go,
amenable
Max, you're the best wrestler alive." Yeah, it's great.
That's not how he does it, though.
It kind of is.
He does the cadence is different, so he purposely tries to do it so it's basically impossible for the crowd to chant it.
I don't know, man. I was practicing it. We also had Will Hobbs and Hologram on Dynamite.
Hologram
versus, and Hologram, of course, had Harley Graham with him. And they were taking on Brian Cage. This is the one time, Larson, this is the one time I will cede to you that Cage's hair was kind of a mess.
It's been a mess for weeks, man.
No.
Yes.
It was this time. All the other times you said it was a mess, it was perfectly coiffed.
No, it's never been perfectly coiffed.
Perfectly coiffed, Larson.
He's got bedhead every week. There was one time he looked like he put a comb through it.
On
one
accident. Time. Hobbs gets the win, spinebuster on Dralistico.
Mm-hmm.
But the Dralistico hologram saga continues.
And then Archer and Davis walk out and give Dralistico some crap for taking the L and then stand by Brian Cage.
Mm-hmm.
And then we had Chris Jericho dropping a soliloquy about what happened on the Revolution pre-show, talking about how he humiliated Bandito
in
front of his family.
Thing.
Yeah, he had
the mask on
Gravity's mask, like Hamlet holding was it Hamlet holding the skull?
I think it was Hamlet, yeah.
And he says, "You brought it on yourself. You were the unlucky son of a bitch who stood in the way of Chris Jericho. Your life has changed forever, Bandito, and that's not a good thing." That was Dynamite.
That's your yeah, so much talking, dude. So much talking. Anyways, let's go on and answer some questions.
Yeah, we got about 5 minutes of question time, yeah?
Yeah, we got 5-10 minutes. I don't know. Is it raining outside right now?
I don't know.
Because I'll either drive or walk. Usually I've been walking there lately. But if it's too gnarly outside. It was super windy earlier.
No rain until 2, says Weather App.
All right. Let's see here. Angel Zeros, we've already talked about this a little bit. Here we go. Joe the Meme Maker says, what AAA guys could WWE use for a Gable Luchador Open Challenge?
Oh.
Cybernetico.
Chessman.
Heavy Metal.
Pagano.
Any or all of the clowns.
Yeah.
Preferably Psycho Clown.
Yeah. Creamy Beef Tips asks, would you rather see Money in the Bank used on a TNA title or a failed cash-in?
Oh, on a TNA title. That'd be awesome.
Yeah, that'd be great.
That'd be really great.
Time More here says, who should be the first person to be an NXT and TNA double champ? Someone holding a title from each company.
Lexus King with the digital media and the Heritage Cup.
Okay. I was going to say Fraxium. Fraxium with the NXT tag titles and the TNA tag
That'd be pretty
titles.
cool.
Ain't going to happen seemingly now, but.
That'd be pretty cool. Jonathan Vieira says, what vehicle would you guys use in your Mania entrance to avoid walking that long distance?
That's a good question.
Segways.
Gosh, what are they called? They're like hovercrafts, but those things that you see people like ride on the bayou or the Everglades in Florida.
Yeah. It's like with like the giant fan.
Yeah.
Yeah, what are those called?
I don't remember.
I would do I think in the Frank Black video for Los Angeles, he's riding in one of those. They're like a giant balloon on the bottom, essentially, a big rubber, inflatable thing, and then a fan on the back.
Yeah.
I want to live in Los Angeles.
Yeah, one of those.
The one in South Patagonia. Let's see here. Can we skip to the good part? Says, of the current NXT roster, who should take the title from Obafemi? Oh, we both think it's Javon Evans.
Javon Evans, 1,000%.
Oh, here's a good one. Fear and Loathing. If Jeff Cobb came into WWE as somebody's heavy, who should it be?
Oh, that is a good question.
Good Lord, imagine him with Jacob Fatu.
Oh, wow.
Wow.
Yeah.
Hoverboat. Watercraft? Fan boats. There's all sorts of names in chat.
Fan boat. Yeah, that's what I thought it was.
Fan boat? Really?
Sure.
I want to live in Los Angeles.
Luis says, are there any main roster TNA dream matches you'd like to see? Brooke Jensen versus Werewolf Ed Edwards.
Brooke Jensen is not on main roster?
Oh, main roster. Sorry. Jacob Fatu, Samoan Werewolf versus Werewolf Ed Edwards.
Cody Rhodes versus Tommy Dreamer. I waited for you to swing your water.
Right in to say Bully Ray, Steve.
Bully Ray's not a main roster.
No, but he's a TNA.
Still? Is he?
I don't know. I assume so.
I have no idea. I don't think he is. I could be wrong about that. Jesse Helsey.
What about Bubba Ray versus Bully Ray then?
Oh, I like that. That's good. Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Jesse Helsey, if somebody made you guys in 2K25, what would your finishing moves be?
Burning Hammer.
Something easy like a bear hug. Just pick him up and hug him.
All right.
And I'd call it uncomfortably close.
There you go. Maybe if you do some sort of like elbow move. Like the shoulder lean.
Oh, that's good. Yeah, that's good. Like an elbow to the jugular.
Yeah, like
that's
a Judas
good.
effect type deal.
Yeah, that's good. AJ Otani says, would you book WWE ID talent at Action Coast Wrestling if we could just bury the crap out of them?
Wow.
And then introduce our own ACW ID title.
There we go. Yeah. Maggie here says, did you tell Larson about Lardon?
Yeah, right.
What's
you
that?
are Tony D'Angelo, or he's stealing your gimmick, apparently. So, very briefly, in the My Career mode, the My Rise story, Steve Thunder, #1 draft pick, coming from AEW, by the way. They are not subtle about your character coming from AEW because they run into CM Punk, they run into Jade Cargill, and they both talk about having come from a different promotion.
Wow.
And then this guy named Lardon attacks him, a masked attacker, but then it just ends up being Tony D. Yeah, it's pretty funny.
That is funny. All right, you got one more?
One more. Oh, man, here we go. John and Alistair voice says, Karma Police or Paranoid Android?
Oh, Paranoid Android.
Paranoid Android. It's like 8 songs in one.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, without a doubt.
Anyways, that's going to do it for the show. Thanks, everybody, for tuning in. We appreciate it. Till next time, we'll see you guys around. Oh, early SmackDown tomorrow. We are doing the show at what time?
4 or 4:30?
I think just 4 is like after the actual show is fine. Like 4:15. I'll put it for 4:15.
Yeah, I'm good for right after the show.
I think that works. Okay,
sure.
Cool. Right on. 4:15 Pacific. 7 p.m. Eastern. So basically right after SmackDown.
Yep.
We'll be around.